Hey guys, Dan Williams here from Range of Motion. Welcome to this live webinar. I know most of you will be watching this on delay. So for those who are joining us live, welcome. For those who are watching this on delay, thank you for tuning in. Guys, let me give you a quick summary of what I want to talk about today. This is going to be very practical. There are going to be a lot of takeaways here that you can use and implement straight away. I'm going to get very specific with some of the strategies and tactics. Hi Corey, thanks for jumping on. Hi Dan, thanks for joining in. And to get really specific on some strategies and tactics to become more productive as a fitness professional or as an entrepreneur in general, and to become more organized. Let me tell you why specifically I want to talk about organization. Now, this is something that the more and more I work with our clients through Range of Motion business mentoring, the more and more I realize that organization is not only what's lacking, but it's also what's perhaps the lowest hanging fruit in terms of if you can nail your organization, you can do incredible things in your business. You can be incredibly productive. You can not let stuff fall through cracks. So let me kick this off by talking about why I think this is so important. Why I think it's so important to effectively outsource your productivity, your ability to get stuff done to something other than your mind. So I'm a big believer that your mind needs white space. It needs some space between all the tasks that you are doing. If your brain is used as a storage cabinet, as a filing cabinet, as a to-do list, as a calendar, if your brain is used for all these things, it means that it's not being able to be used for what I think it's really powerful for as a business owner, and that is as a device for creativity, for imagination, and for problem solving. If you can't get in the shower and have amazing ideas and come out and have to write all these ideas down, there's something not right up here. It means that you're thinking about, okay, what clients do I have next? What's the program for them? What are the items I need to tick off my to-do list today? What do I need to get done? What do I need to book in? What are my next appointments? Your mind can't be creative and solve problems if it's constantly thinking about these things. So effectively, what this webinar is about is how to outsource all of these tasks, these thoughts, these lists into some sort of external source. And I want to talk to you about a handful of the key strategies that I use personally. And honestly, I think a lot of the success of Range of Motion and our associated businesses comes from the fact that we are really well organized. Sure, we have systems in place, but that comes under that banner of organization. So the first thing I want to do is talk to you about a piece of software that I use, which basically runs my life. It runs all the productivity of my life. Now, you don't have to use this certain piece of software, but this is the one I definitely recommend, and it is called Todoist. And those of you who are tuning in or watching this on delay, who are my business mentoring clients, will be able to attest to the fact that once you get things organized in Todoist, it's insane how much you can get done. So effectively all this is, it's a piece of software where you keep track of what needs to be done. It is a to-do list. And you can go in, you can type in, you can have recurring things. So I know, for example, that on the 1st of every month, I have a reminder that says organize a free webinar for Perth fitness professionals. And here we are. So I don't need to remember that every month I need to organize this. I wake up on the 1st of the month, there's a reminder there to tell me to do that. So I average about 100 tasks a week, thereabouts, that are on my Todoist. And quite frankly, I couldn't tell you what a single one of those tasks is. I couldn't tell you what I had to do today when I woke up this morning. I've done about 20 or 30 tasks so far today before 9 o'clock because I just woke up and I started churning through this list. I put stuff in there about reminders for social media posting. In fact, let me just pull up my Todoist for today here. So if we look today, the stuff that I've got remaining, we've got things, we're working on new welcome packs and user manuals for our clients. So it's a reminder to get those printed, to get some folders to put those in. I'm writing a series of session notes, like coaches notes, for a lot of the programming that we do. So I'm going to spend half an hour doing that. I've got a reminder here to call a new client who walked into our facility. He was having an MRI. He came in 4 weeks ago. I put a reminder in Todoist in 4 weeks' time to contact him today just to see how his MRI went, see if he has had the results back and see if we can help him. I need to update one of our systems to build the distribution of our welcome pack into that system. We are changing how we do some recycling at Range of Motion. So I'm making some signage, just some guidance, take the lid off, put this in one container, put this in the other container, that sort of thing. We're updating some testing that we're doing for our programming. So that's on my list. I have to do a Facebook Live to my online clients talking about some strategy for next week. I need to do some programming for our online clients, and I've got a reminder that some of my staff still need to get their content created for this week. Each of my staff creates a client story every week that we then share through our Instagram. So you can see random stuff in there. That's about maybe a dozen tasks I've just read out. Like I said, I've already done maybe 20 or 30 so far today. So that's my first piece of advice to you guys, is get onto some sort of task manager like Todoist, because it will absolutely change how you operate and just make you super productive. Every time you think of a task you need to do, it goes on this list. That way you don't have to remember it and you can use your brain for more creative things. Second thing I want to talk about today is you should move all the work you do onto the cloud. This is something that I did. I transitioned at the start of last year, and basically instead of using any sort of Microsoft Office or anything that comes on my Mac, I shifted everything to the cloud. Everything is now in a Google Drive. Any documents are in Google Docs. Any spreadsheets are in Google Sheets. Any presentations are in Google Slides, etc. So everything is stored on the cloud. Not only is this a way that I can store all my documents and stuff on there, but I can also store unlimited photos and videos through Google Photos. So it does resize the resolution down slightly, but unless you're using it for high-end stuff where you need a very high DPI for your images, it's more than sufficient. And you can store an unlimited number of photos and videos online. I was ending up with a whole bunch of hard drives with a lot of the media that we've created over the years. Moving everything into the cloud, it allows you to access stuff from everywhere, and you're not taking up any space on your hard drive. So just a piece of advice there. Move everything there. Everything's at your fingertips, and just keep it really well organized in different folders. So I have different folders for the different facets of the business, for our facility, our business mentoring, our nutrition, our online work, our corporate stuff, our clinic-based work. Each has a different folder. So you can look at the organization of those folders in my Google Drive, and it basically tells a bit of a story of what the business structure, almost like an organizational chart of the business structure itself. So move everything to the cloud. Next piece of advice. Evernote. So Evernote is a piece of software that is basically, it's like my notepad that's always with me. Again, apps available on my phone, on a tablet, available on my laptop as well. It's a piece of software where you can just go in and you can make notes, you can put stuff in folders. And this is for stuff that's not like documents, like if I'm writing a document or I'm writing a blog, which I would do in Google Drive. For example, I'm going to open up my Evernote here. I've got my laptop just behind where you guys are watching from. If we look at the most recent notes that I've got here in Evernote, the most recent one is working out some of the formulae and algorithms for some of this new testing that I just mentioned we were doing. So there's a note there that I'm sort of updating as I go, as I get those formulae sorted. The next note in here, the most recent one, is the structure for our staff PD, which is tomorrow. So to our staff PD that we run on the first Saturday of every month, talking through what we're going to be covering there. So a bit of an itinerary there. The next is a run sheet for a video that we're filming at the moment, talking about the range of motion session flow, which is sort of the micro client experience every time someone comes through our facility. So it's a run sheet of that, looking at all of the A roll I need, all of the B roll I need, all of the scripting I need for that. The one after that is a note that I have for one of my business mentoring clients, which I update with every consult that we have. The one after that is a list of things as I think of them that I need to add to our fitness business series. And the latest ones we've got coming out will be tracking KPIs for your business, which is probably going to be next month's free webinar as well. Offline marketing strategies, how to build an online training business, etc. So you can see that this is just where anything in my mind goes. It's fully organized. It's there all the time. It's a notebook that's always with me that's really well categorized into different areas. Next piece of advice is getting your calendar sorted. So I just use Google Calendar. There are heaps of different options there. I'd suggest whatever stock option you have available is good, because I'm sort of pretty invested in that Google ecosystem in terms of using Google Docs, Google Drive, Google Photos, and of course the calendar now as well. Because I'm using all those, I tend to go the Google option. Works well, again, syncs to my phone, so that's all good. This is where you have all your client bookings. As much as possible, make these recurring bookings so they're just always there. You can also put your own training on there, which I do. Mine is all color coded. So for example, my calendar, anything that's in gray is something that is unpaid. So maybe I'm just catching up with a client for the first time. It's my meetings or appointments that I have, which aren't paid. Anything in blue, those are me working one-on-one as a personal coach or as an exercise physiologist with my clients. In green are my business mentoring clients. In yellow are online nutrition coaching clients. And in red is my own training. So huge piece of advice here. Get that calendar sorted and don't try and fill it all up. Don't try and put something in every half-hour block with your calendar. Have that white space there and make sure that you schedule in time to work on your business. That's basically what Friday is for me. So I was up at about 6 o'clock this morning and I'll work all day from home. I'm not doing any client-facing stuff today. And other than this, there is nothing in my calendar. My entire day is blocked out to working on the business. Really cool piece of advice on this, guys. If you're working on the business, there's a little question you can ask yourself. And it doesn't matter whether you're working on it for a minute or for a month. Any block of time you spend working on your business, at the end of that block of time, be it a minute or a month, say to yourself, if I was to sell my business now, could I get $1 more than what it was worth a minute ago? Or $1 more than what it was a month ago? Or however long that block of time is. If the answer is yes, you have in some way added value to your business. It doesn't mean you're necessarily increasing your bottom line, but you're increasing the value of your business by improving your systems, by improving your content, by improving your reputation or your branding or any of these variables. So yeah, just a good little takeaway. So really important to make sure that you have that calendar set up. I have no idea what time my clients are coming in. Zero idea at all. Because I don't need to. I've had clients who've been seeing me at the same time every Tuesday and Thursday morning for the last 10, 12, 15 years. I don't know what time they come in. And people say, well, that's, it's been hundreds, it's been thousands of times that you've seen them. How do you not know? I don't know because I don't need to. I choose to use that mental bandwidth of my mind to focus on, again, creativity, solving problems, overcoming obstacles, as opposed to using that time to try and remember, oh shit, I've got right in 6:30 every Tuesday morning. So outsource that, outsource as much as you can. Next one, this was a huge find for me a couple of years ago, and a lot of our client communication, particularly new clients, is through email, organizing meetings, organizing consults, working with my business mentoring clients, following up on stuff with my personal coaching clients. A lot of this is via email. And there is an add-on that you can get for Gmail. And I use it through through Chrome rather. I think you can use it through Safari or Internet Explorer for anyone who's still living in 1997. It's basically just an add-on you get. And when you go to send an email, you can click a little button at the bottom of that email that says, if I haven't heard back from this person in 24 hours or a week or a month or whatever the case may be, return this email to me. And it sends you back a notification. Really handy. Let me tell you when I use this. We get a new inquiry from a client which comes through our website and gets emailed to me. Straight away, I jump into Gmail. I bring up a new email, a new window, and I have a bunch of emails saved in there, template emails. click one of those template emails, loads up information about what we do, the next step to get the ball rolling. I just fill in their name to make it personalized. I add in anything specific that they have mentioned or asked for in their contact with us. Then when I go to send it, I click a little button down the bottom that says return in 2 days if we haven't had a response from this person. I hit send, I forget about it. This client is now out of my mind. I have no idea what's going on here, where they're up to in this process. Either they reply to me and we continue down the chain through our macro client journey, macro client experience here at Range of Motion, or 2 days later, haven't heard back from them, I get an email back. The email says, you haven't had a reply from Sarah. Okay, cool. I send Sarah a follow-up email. Hey Sarah, just following up again, finalizing our appointments for next week. Is there a time you'd like to catch up, have a chat and see what we can do to help you? Click the button again, 2 days. 2 days later, either Sarah's replied or she hasn't. If she hasn't, I continue this process because you need a whole heap of touch points with people. So anything that's important that needs following up on, this is an amazing way to do this. Free piece of software, free add-on here, Boomerang for Gmail. And I'd say pretty much every email I send where I require some sort of response from the other person, I click this button. Now, let's say, for example, someone emails me and they say, heard about you guys, but I'm having surgery next week. I've been told I can't do anything for 6 weeks, but just want to know a little bit more about what you do. Send through information on what we do. And then I say, if it's okay, I'll touch base with you in 6 weeks. Now, of course, people always say that sort of thing, but people very rarely follow up on it. But what I do is I tick the little button that says, send this back to me in 6 weeks if you haven't heard back from them. 6 weeks later, hey, Bruce, you were in touch 6 weeks ago. I promised I'd shoot you through an email. Just wanted to see how surgery went. I've got these appointments available for next week. Let's make a time to catch up and talk about your rehabilitation. So it's just an amazing way to stick to your word, not because you're being committed, but because you've got a piece of software that does it for you. So tracking those email non-replies using Boomerang, super important. Next piece of advice for organization and productivity, and that is setting goals and targets for the 12 months ahead, but with a 6-month overlap. What do I mean by that? End of December every year, I spend a couple of days sitting down, working out my plans, my targets, my focuses, the key pillars of the business for the next 12 months. Once I've done that, I can then break each down and say, right, if this is due by this date, this has to be done by here. What tasks need to be done as a secondary to that? What are the sort of processes that need to be undertaken to get there? They then go into Todoist, which was that first task management app that I talked to you guys about today. Those things then go into Todoist, and I have no idea when they're coming up, but I'll wake up on Tuesday morning and it will say to me, go through Range of Motion core values and systemize any processes that we're not currently doing on recurring reminders. I do it because it's told me to do it. I get to the point where that goal was due 3 months down the track, and I've done all of those tasks that need to be done, and I tick that off. Now, that 6-month overlap I was talking about. In December, I do all those goals for the calendar year. Then, at the end of the financial year, June, July, I will do all the goals for that next financial year. So at any point, there's a 6-month overlap where I just check I'm still on track and check that my direction hasn't changed with any of these goals. It allows me to make sure that we're constantly, if we need to, move the goalposts as things adapt and evolve, because of course 6 months is a long time in running a business. Next piece of advice, have a big whiteboard. Let me show you guys. I have a big glass board here at home, which I use. We're having a baby soon, so I've lost my office. My office has now become this little sort of alcove here. So this behind me is my glass board, and this basically allows me to have my goals and stuff on here, things I'm focusing on, what our social media advertising stuff is going to be for the coming week. And sometimes it just really helps to have somewhere you can just see everything in one place. You can get your ideas out. You're not constrained by speed of typing or by being able to draw and scribble and arrows and stuff. So having a big glass board like that is an amazing strategy. Also good for gamification. So if you're doing a task that is menial, that you don't really want to do, what I'll do is say, okay, this is probably 10 half-hour blocks of work. I'll draw 10 little boxes on my glass board. Every time I do half an hour of work on it, I tick one of those boxes. Win, leveling up, unlocking new achievements, sort of gamification, which then allows me to really track how much work I'm doing, how productive I'm being, and it's just a great tool to keep me accountable to myself. I do the same sort of thing with always having like notepads and stuff around, so you can see notepads with just random stuff that I happen to be working on at the time. Again, sometimes if you're doing stuff where you need to sketch out layouts or whatever, here trying to work out some formulae for some of that testing that I mentioned we're doing, you just sometimes need a nice big canvas that you can work on. Next piece of advice, guys, track your KPIs. Know your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, you can't grow your numbers. Your KPIs allow you to track trends in your business, and you can track these trends before they start impacting the bottom line. If you realize that your business, that your client numbers are dropping, or that your bottom line is dropping, or you're having less people turning up to classes, if you realize these things before these KPIs have hinted at you that there's perhaps a red flag there, it's going to be too late. So again, this is one that I'll probably talk about in another webinar, guys, because we can do a whole half-hour talk just on this. But you must know your numbers. I track detailed KPIs, income and expenses from my profit and loss statement, which I update every month. I use Xero as my accounting software, so that's another piece of advice there. Use that. And I look at number of new leads, number of converted leads, retention rates, attrition rates, how many people we had that we've lost, how many new people we've brought on, tracking the progress of clients over an extended period of time. So guys, track those KPIs, super important. More on that another time. Third last piece of advice for you guys, know your focuses for the week. One of the things I find, because there's so much going on, and I'm sure it's the same with you guys, it can get really overwhelming when you are trying to do all of these different things, and sometimes you just need to sort of stop, take a breath, and say, what are my 3 focuses for this week? And now, sure, there may be 100 tasks that you have on your task management software for the week, but just knowing where those 3 focuses are, knowing that you're working towards those. So again, you get to the end of the week, you say to yourself, have I added value to my business over this last week in this case? To be able to go back and check these key points that you should be focusing on is huge. So what I do is I just use like the note-taking app on my phone, and I'll write on there the 3 things that I'm going to be working on. So maybe one of the things is set up new welcome packs for clients. Another of these things may be finish off writing session notes, coach's notes for all of our new sessions for our clients. A third item might be walk around the local neighborhood and meet business people and offer some sessions to their staff. So those are 3 things that I've focused on this week. I'll write those on the Notes app on my phone. I take a screenshot. I then go into that screenshot and set it as my lock screen. So at any point, all I need to do is pick up my phone, look at it, and there's a list there of the 3 things that I need to be focusing on for that week, just to really help keep me to task. Next one, and this is a huge one, guys. I've done a webinar on this one before, but I'm going to gloss over this super quickly now, and that's systemizing and automating your business. Honestly, any task that you have to do more than once, you need to work out what that task involves, a checklist, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Work out what it involves. Work out if you can delegate it to someone else, which is great, but it can cost you money. But if your business is more mature and you have more money, less time, then this can be a great strategy for you. Or can you automate this? Can you in some way make this happen without you having to do anything? Now, worst case scenario with this, guys, it's something that you have to do yourself. It can't be automated. So it's very hard for me to automate this webinar, for example. But what I can do is put that reminder on my task manager, on my Todoist. So I basically just jump on that and it tells me exactly what to do. Anything in your business that must be done more than once should have a checklist and a system by which it runs as automatically as possible. And final piece of advice for you guys is you want to try and batch similar tasks. There is no such thing as multitasking. Sure, we can listen to a podcast as we're driving because they don't both require your full attention. But it's very hard to be sending back a reply to a private message on Facebook that your client has sent you while at the same time you're trying to do deep work, creating content or writing educational blogs for people. These overlapping things, every time you change from trying to respond to this notification to creating new educational content for your clients and the other 100 directions that you're being pulled in as a business owner, every time you change, every time you switch, you lose time, you lose focus, you then have to restart each task, restart your focus when you get back to it. So you need to batch similar tasks. This is when I reply to my emails. Again, this comes back to the calendar app. This is when I reply to my emails. This is when I'm doing deep work, which is what Friday is for me. No distractions, me on my own at home. The fact that there'll soon be a screaming baby here, of course, is going to make things interesting, but a challenge I'm looking forward to. So Friday, that's what I'm doing. Some other days, this block of time, I'm working with clients here. That's where my focus is. Look through your week and make sure there is time to be spent working on your business, to grow, to develop, to solve problems. And again, over that period, to be able to increase the value of your business to your clients and therefore increase your bottom line. Because ultimately, if your business is a purpose-driven business as opposed to a profit-driven business, profit will happen as a natural result of that. So guys, those are my tips for you. Let me run you through them super quickly again. Put all of your tasks in some sort of task management app. I like Todoist. Move everything to the cloud. Makes it super easy. Store your life in Evernote. Notes, things you need to come back to all the time. Make appointments in a calendar. Track your replies through the add-on called Boomerang. So you're never missing people. People are never falling through the tracks. Set your goals and targets for 12 months ahead, but redo that every 6 months. Have a big whiteboard and something like this where you can just get ideas out and explode them out onto paper. Track your KPIs. If you don't know your numbers, you can't improve your numbers. Have 1 to 3 focuses for the week that you keep on your iPhone lock screen. Systemize, automate, and delegate everything with checklists so you can put your business on autopilot. And finally, batch similar tasks together. Guys, I hope there has been some value in this for you. If you can take away one of these things and implement it, honestly, organization, productivity is an absolute superpower in your business. I haven't always been organized. It's something I've needed to train myself to do. As a kid, I had the messiest bedroom going around. It's something that I've worked on, and it's something now that is honestly a superpower. I'll say this again. So much of the success that we've had with Range of Motion has come down to being organized. Guys, implement some of these things. If I can help you with any of this, implementing any of these systems to become more organized, drop a message below, shoot me a private message, send me an email, dan@rangeofmotion.net.au. Check out our website for all the stuff we do, rangeofmotion.net.au. Thanks, guys. Thank you for joining us. Post questions, thoughts, comments, and discussion points below, and I will get into them. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.